Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 7, Canto 2nd, chapter 7, schedule incarnations, and we try to understand Shloka Kramanka 27 and 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Narayanam
नारायणं
Namaskruत्य Naram
नमस्कृत्य
Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhoti Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. श्लोक क्रमांक 27 and 28. तोकेन जीव हरणम यदु उलु यत उलु की कायाः
तोकेन जीवहरणं यदुलोक की कायाः।
त्रैमासिकस्य च पदा शकटः अपवृतः
त्रैमासिकस्य च पदाशकटः पवृत्तः।
यत् रिङ्गता अन्तर्गतेन दिवि स्पृशो वा
यत् रिङ्गता अन्तर्गतेन दिवि स्पृशो वा
उन्मूलनं तु इतरथा अर्जुनयोः न भाव्यम्
उन्मूलनं त्वितरथा अर्जुनयोः न भाव्यम्।
यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपि तान्
यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विषयतोऽपीतान्।
बालान् तु अजीवयत् अनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या
बालान् तु अजीवयत् अनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या।
तच्छुद्धये अतिविषवीर्यविलोलजुह्वम्
तच्छुद्धये अतिविषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम्।
उच्चाटयिष्यत् उरगं विहरन् हृदीन्याम्
मुच्चाटयिष्यत् उर्वगं विहरन् हृदि अन्याम्।
तोकेन जीवहरणं यत् उलूकिकायाः
तोकेन जीवहरणं यत् उलुकीकायाः।
त्रैमासिकस्य च पदाशकट अपवृतः
त्रैमासिकस्य च पदाशकटपवृत्तः।
यत् रिङ्गता अन्तर्गतेन दिवि स्पृशो वा
यत् रिङ्गतान्तर्गतेन दिवि स्पृशो वा
उन्मूलनं तु इतरथा अर्जुनयोः न भाव्यम्
उन्मूलनं तु इतरथा अर्जुनयो न भाव्यम्।
यत् वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपि तान्
यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विषयतोऽपीतान्।
बालान् तु अजीवयत् अनुग्रहादृष्टिवृष्ट्या
बालान् तु अजीवयत् अनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या।
तच्छुद्धये अतिविषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम्
तच्छुद्धये अतिविषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम्।
उच्चाटयिष्यत् उरगं विहरन् हृदीन्याम्
उच्चाटयिष्यम् उरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम्।
तोकेन जीवहरणं यत् उलूकिकायाः त्रैमासिकस्य च पदा शकटः अपवृतः यत् रिङ्गता अन्तर्गतेन दिवि स्पृशो वा उन्मूलनं तु इतरथा अर्जुनयो न भाव्यम् यत् वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपि तान् बालान् तु अजीवयत् अनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धये अतिविषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यत् उरगं विहरन् हृदीन्याम्. हरे कृष्ण.
लोकेन जीवहरणं यत् उलुकीकायाः। त्रैमासिकस्य च पदाशकटपवृत्तः। यत् रिङ्गता अन्तर्गतेन दिवि स्पृशः वा उन्मूलनं तु इतरथा अर्जुनयो न भाव्यम्। यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽपीतान्। बालान् तु अजीवयत् अनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या। तच्छुद्धयति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम्। उच्चाटयिष्यत उर्वगं विहरन् हृदि अन्याम्।
Translation and purport by the Śrīla Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. There is no doubt about Lord Krishna's being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Pūtanā when he was just on the lap of his mother, or to overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old, to uproot a pair of Arjuna tree so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord Himself. Then also, when the coward boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord in his childhood revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake, which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord? Purport. One cannot manufacture a god by one's mental speculation or by numerical votes, as has become a practice for less intelligent class of men. God is God eternally, and an ordinary living entity is eternally a part and parcel of God. God is one without a second, and the ordinary living entities are many without number. All such living entities are maintained by God Himself, and that is the verdict of the Vedic literature. When Krishna was on the lap of his mother, the demon Pūtanā appeared before his mother and prayed to nurture the child in her lap. Mother Yaśodā agreed, and the child was transferred onto the lap of Pūtanā, who was in the garb of a respectable lady. Pūtanā wanted to kill the child by smearing poison on the nipple of her breast, but when everything was complete, the Lord sucked her breast along with her very air of life, and the demon's gigantic body, said to be as long as 6 miles, fell down. Lord Krishna did not need to expand himself to the length of the Demon Pūtanā, although he was quite competent to extend himself more than 6 miles long. In his Vaman incarnation, he posed himself as a dwarf Brahmana, but when he took possession of his land promised by Bali Maharaj, he expanded his footsteps to the top of the universe, extending over thousands and miles, thousands and millions of miles. So it was not difficult for Krishna to perform a miracle by extending his bodily feature, but he had no desire to do it because of his deep filial love for his mother Yaśodā. If Yaśodā had seen Krishna in her lap extending 6 miles to cope with the she demon Pūtanā, then the natural filial love of Yaśodā would have been hurt, because in that way Yaśodā would have come to know that her so-called son Krishna was God himself, and with the knowledge of the godhood of Krishna, Yaśodā Mai would have lost the temper of her love for Krishna as a natural mother. But as far as Lord Krishna is concerned, he is God always, either as a child on the lap of his mother or as the coverer of the universe. Vaman Deva, he does not require to become God by undergoing severe penances, although some men think of becoming God in that way. By undergoing severe austerities and penances, one cannot become one or equal with God, but one can attain most of the godly qualities. A living being can attain godly qualities to a large extent, but he cannot become God. Whereas Krishna, without undergoing any type of penance, is God always, either in the lap of his mother or growing up or at any stage of growth. So at the age of only 3 months, he killed the Śakaṭāsura who had remained hidden behind a cart in the house of Yaśodā. And when he was crawling and was disturbing his mother from doing household affairs, the mother tied him with a grinding pestle, but the naughty child dragged the pestle up to a pair of very high Arjuna trees in the yard of Yaśodā. And when the pestle was stuck between the pair of trees, they fell down with a horrible sound. When Yaśodā came to see the happening, she thought that her child had been saved from the falling trees by the mercy of the Lord, without knowing that the Lord himself, crawling in her yard, and had wreaked the havoc, so that in is the way of the reciprocation of love appears between the Lord and his devotees. Yaśodā wanted to have the Lord as a child, and the Lord played exactly like a child in her lap, but at the same time played the part of the Almighty Lord whenever it was so required. The beauty of such pastimes was that the Lord fulfilled everyone's desire. In the case of felling the gigantic Arjuna tree, the Lord's mission was to deliver the two sons of Kuvera, who were condemned to become trees by the curse of Narada, as well as to play like a crawling child in the yard of Yaśodā, who took transcendental pleasure in seeing such activities of the Lord in the very yard of her home. The Lord in any condition is Lord of the universe, and he can act as such in any form, gigantic or small as he likes. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Yutapadakamala Sri Gurun Vaishnavanja Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Vancha Kalpataruvecha Krupa Sindhuve Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2nd, Chapter 7, Schedule Incarnation. And here we try to understand Shloka Kramanka 27 and 28. In Shloka Kramanka 27, here describing about the three uh, Leelas of Krishna. Uh, One is to kill the gigantic demon like the Pūtanā. Then second, uh, to uproot a pair of Arjuna, and to um, deliver the uh, sons of the Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalagriva. And in 28 shlokas that describe about the water which become poisonous due to there was a Kaliya Nag who um, was lurking there. The poisonous waves, uh, its tongue emitting waves of poisonous, and he was the venomous Kaliya snake, and Krishna uh, uh, and Krishna uh, doing uh, doing the control on the Kalyana and sent him ocean toward ocean. How who could do this Hercules task supreme without the supreme personality of God? Prabhuji will tell us in detail. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The superhuman pastimes of Krishna. So that is Krishna's Leela, what we are seeing today, which are the proof of a supreme position. So in these verses, we are glorifying some extraordinary childhood pastimes of Krishna, which actually establish him as supreme personality. Now, conditioned souls, uh, they can only gain godly qualities to a limited extent. But Krishna is eternally God. So whether he is in the lap of his mother Yaśodā as a crawling child or as the protector of the entire universe, he still remains the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what we are seeing in these shlokas are a couple of pastimes. First is the Pūtanā birth, the killing of Pūtanā. So as an infant, Krishna was in his mother's lap, and then this Pūtanā demon, she came, and she was a giant demoness. She was ordered by Kans to kill each and every child who was born in the area. So she went from home to home and killed the babies. So when she came to the home of Krishna, there, seeing her as a simple damsel, Yaśodā Maiya said, "Okay, you wish to take my child in your arms, please take and care for him." And this Putana, she took him and then she tried to breastfeed while she had applied a poison on her breast. But look at small little baby Krishna. He simply sucked out the life of the giant demoness. She was feeling a gas and she was crying. She was shouting. She increased her size, hoping that the baby would leave him. But then, when Krishna desires, nothing can stop him. And he had himself given the boon to her in her previous birth when she was the brother of Bali Maharaj, when she was the sister of Bali Maharaj, and she desired to have Vamana as her child. So Krishna finally took away her life and she failed. Now, such a feat is impossible for any ordinary being. Forget sucking out poison from anyone. If simply ask them to ensure that you drink water of any river or a pond, or even maybe water on the railway station, immediately they will start getting digestive problems. Because finally we are conditioned souls. Then what this Putra word does is it gives us good learnings as well. Like each of the demoniac episodes who are coming there, they teach us particular qualities as devotees. First and foremost, when Krishna captures you, he never leaves you. So it is always better to be captured by Krishna as a devotee rather than as a demon. Secondly, Yaśodā Maiya, she thought that let me do my work, someone will take care of Krishna. This should never happen. We are supposed to serve Krishna forever. So we should not hope that someone else will do our service. So these are the two learnings we get from this Putana episode. And then we had the Śakaṭāsura. When Krishna was just three masika is the word there, 3 months old. At that time, he simply kicked and destroyed the cart demon. Now, this demon had come in the form of a cart. Now, this was again horrific. Now, here, what we see is we should always be taking care of Krishna. Here again, Yaśodā Maiya thought that he is becoming very heavy. Let me put him under a cart and he will rest. So at times we feel the service becoming heavy and we try to keep it aside. So this Leela teaches us that any service should never be a burden. It should be a pleasure to serve Krishna. And then we had the Arjuna trees, the two sons of Kuvera, who had become trees. So Krishna simply uprooted them. Now this is precursor to the Damodar Leela. So he pulled down the Queen Arjuna trees, which were so high that they were touching the sky. Now here also we have learnings from that episode, that first of all, you should always be humble. Now, why they became trees was because they were arrogant and they disrespected Naradji, and hence they were cursed to become trees. So, humility is something which we need to learn from the Arjuna tree. So, what these activities reveal is that Krishna is not an ordinary child, but the Supreme Lord whose pastimes are both sweet and awe inspiring. Madhurya cha Aishwarya cha. And then we see the episode of the Kaliya and purification of Yamuna. So, Kalyana, he had been cursed that he would be destroyed. So he came to this Yamuna Kshetra near Mathura because there it was told that eagle cannot come. So he was staying there. But then he was very poisonous. And because of his poison, the whole Yamuna water was become poisoned. And when coward boys drank it, they fell unconscious. Now Krishna is so merciful, he revives them with his merciful glance. But then he thought that it is important to purify Yamuna and protect Vrindavana as well. So he creates a Leela whereby when he is playing with his coward boys, the ball is put into the river, and the coward boy said, "You have put it, you bring it." So he simply climbs a tree, jumps into the river. There he has a fight with Kalia. Kalia tries to defeat him, but he cannot do anything because Krishna is Krishna. With all his heads, he tries and he finally fatigues and he does not know what to do and is doing huffing and puffing. And the Kalia Patni, the wives, they pray to Krishna, please forgive him. And then Krishna says, okay, but let me dance on his forehead. And then Kalia comes out of the water and Krishna dances on his forehead to his satisfaction. And all the Vrindavanvasis simply look into it. So such Herculean task, reviving life, conquering death, personified, can only be performed by Supreme Lord. And that is why Krishna is God Himself. He has descended, He has not incarnated. And this is where we need to understand the difference between a living entity and God. Because Krishna is eternal. He never becomes God because of austerities or penance. Like conditioned soul, they may develop certain qualities but never attain the Godhood. You always remain eternally parts and parcels of the Lord, maintained by Him. Eko bahuna mayo vidadati kaman. So, this is our eternal position of servitude. Even great demigods like Shiva and Brahma are subordinate to him. Shiva Virendinu Uttama. And anyone who equates demigods with Narayana is an offender. Yetu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Devati Sapashandi Bhaveta Dhruva. As a living being, as a Jiva, you are given independence by Krishna. His super soul, the Paramatma, and he sanctions desires of all living beings. In Bhagavad Gita, 21st sloka of 7th chapter, Krishna says that when one desires to worship demigods, Krishna makes that faith steady. However, demigods are but officials of the cosmic government. So real worship must be offered to this Krishna. just as citizens obey the state, not the officers. And another aspect is, like it is mentioned in 23rd and 24th shloka in 9th chapter, worship of demigods is indirect, avidhi purvaka, and all yajnas are ultimately meant for Krishna. So, this is why these leelas make us aware that he is supreme, so it is better to surrender to him. But then, because of the effects of Kala and Guna, we find it difficult. The material world is governed by time, karma, guna, swabhav, sanskar, and our births, they're directly affected by it. Like in 13th chapter, 22nd shloka, Krishna says that one's birth in higher or lower species is due to association with the three moods. But then human life is that special opportunity wherein we have to rise to Sataguna. And for that, we need to follow the Varnashram Dharma. We have to be involved in Bhagavad Seva and we have to have Sangha of the devotees. In first canto, in 12th, second chapter itself, we studied that by hearing Bhagavatam and serving devotees, the Raja and the Tamaha Guna are subdued and one can remain fixed in Sattva Guna, progressing towards Bhakti. But for that, association is important. Narottam Das Thakur says, Bhakti Sane Vasaha. Good association transforms Swabhava. And this is what this Krishna consciousness movement is doing. It is providing such association, enabling even Mlichas and Yavanas to become Vaishnavas through Vasudeva Bhakti. So we need to have scientific understanding of Krishna, scientific understanding of devotional service. True science is not only material but also spiritual. Jnana, Vijnana. Jnana is knowledge and Vijnana is realization. And Bhakti Yoga is the highest such science because it purifies the heart and leads to immortality. So without engaging in yajna, dana, tapa, shravana, kirtana, one remains bound by lust and greed. But if we start understanding Krishna and his activities, we get immense benefits. The results are great. Like in the 9th shloka of 4th chapter, Krishna says that one who knows Krishna's appearance and activities, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, as transcendental, never takes birth again but returns to his eternal abode. So by hearing, glorifying, meditating on Krishna's superhuman activities, one become qualified to go back to Godhead. So what these shlokas are doing is they're emphasizing that Krishna is eternally the Supreme Lord, not an ordinary soul. His activities, even as a child, as a baby, are beyond human capability, filled with divine contradictions. Demigods, time, karma, all forces of nature act under his will. Human life is meant for purification through bhakti, leading us back to him. So, this shloka is firmly establishing the understanding and accepting Krishna's transcendental activities as the gateway to liberation and eternal service in Golok Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu